Hello and welcome to this series of 10 videos on the Metta Sutta. In fact, there are two Metta Suttas. This one is sometimes referred to as the Karaniya Metta Sutta to distinguish it from the other one called Karaniya, of course, after the first word in the first verse. As usual, I shall read through the verse twice and then we'll analyze it. Karanyamatta kusalena yantam santam padam abhisamecha sakko ujucha suhujucha suvachochassa mudu anatimani. Karanyamatta kusalena yantam santam padam abhisamecha sakko ujucha suhujucha suvachochassa mudu anatimani. Karaniyam, meaning to be done, requiring to be done, is a gerundive, sometimes known as the future passive participle, meaning needing to be done, requiring to be done. Sometimes it's used as a noun also, meaning a duty or a chore, a thing you've got to do. The karaniyam here is used without the verb to be, as often happens. If A is B, one can miss it out. So just karaniyam attakusalena, to be done by the attakusala. That means this is to be done. This is something that needs to be done by the attakusalena. Attakusala. Now, atta, you'll see the explanation in the notes that I've given. It's from the root re, meaning to go, and it's got the termination ta, and with the guna of the re, it becomes artha, means the going. So artha basically means going, and it's come to mean a goal or a destination. And in this sense it means the attakusalena, one who is kusala in this sense, skilled or good at, competent at doing something. So attakusalena, one who is goal skilled, one who is skilled in moving towards or attaining the atta, the goal. Atta, incidentally, often means the meaning of a word. So what is the word aiming at? What is the goal of the word? It's to convey a certain meaning, and that is why we often see atta used in the sense of the meaning. What is the meaning of this? The atta of this? What's it getting at? Also, incidentally, atta in Sanskrit, artha. I've written it in Sanskrit here, atta, of course, in Pali. And as usual, I've forgotten to share my screen, so here we go. I will share my screen with you. Here we are. So, ri plus ta is artha. Artha in Sanskrit becomes atta in Pali. In Sanskrit, this word artha, and also in Pali, atta, in addition to meaning goal and meaning, it signifies wealth. You know, that which people seek. And in fact, in modern Hindi, artha shastra, the science or the teaching of artha, is the modern Hindi word for economics as a subject of study. Artha shastra, literally the science of wealth. So attakusala, this is a compound. We could use the same kind of compound in English. Attakusala, goal skilled, is one who is skilled in seeking the goal. And it's put in the instrumental here because the karaniyam, the gerundive, has a passive sense, requiring to be done by whom? So that goes in the instrumental. So karaniyam, requiring to be done, attakusalena, by the goal-skilled. Yantam santam padam abhisamecha. Abhisamecha is a gerundive. It's the having done form, often known as the indeclinable past participle as well. So having done, having understood here, who has understood or who has grasped. So abhisamecha, from Sanskrit abhisameti, abhi, up to, some, got it, abhisameti, approaching and grasping. It suggests that there's been an attempt at understanding and there has been a grasping of it. It actually means to attain and obtain as well as to understand. And in the English word grasp, we have those two meanings in one. You can physically grasp something, you can get it, and you can also mentally grasp something in the sense of understanding it. That's what this word abhisameti, abhisamecha encompasses. So in other words, you've either fully grasped it, or you have grasped the significance, you've grasped the need to follow this course. So karaniyam attakusalena, to be done, meaning what follows is what has to be done, by the attakusalena, by the goal-skilled. Abhisamecha, having understood, having grasped, yantam santam padam. The santam padam, often translated as peaceful state. So adjective santa, Sanskrit shanta, from the root sham, meaning peaceful. Incidentally, from the same sham, of course, we get shanti, meaning peace. And also, with this same root ta, as artha, we have in samatha, in Pali, samatha, as in concentration, meditation. And in Sanskrit, exactly the same, except that it's a sha. So, santam, shanta in Sanskrit, santa in Pali, santam padam, that peaceful, who has understood that peaceful state is one translation of it. And pada has got several meanings. One meaning that has been given and interpreted by some is path. Margaret Cohn in her dictionary gives path as a queried meaning, so she's not sure that it does mean path, and just in the last of quite a number of meanings that she gives for pada in her dictionary. It's more likely to have the meaning of state or abode. So that peaceful abode, that peaceful state. So this is to be done by the goal-skilled who has understood that peaceful state. In this sentence, the yan, which is the accusative of yo, meaning which, yam, masculine, accusative, singular. It is pleonastic, it doesn't really need to be there. So if the sentence read karaniyam attakusalena tan santam padam abhisamecha, that would be correct. But the yantam is put in pleonastically, that which is that peaceful state. It sounds clumsy in English, though it's perfectly idiomatic and correct in Pali. Often see it in Sanskrit, and you will still hear that same usage very commonly in modern colloquial Hindi as well. So this is to be done by the goal-skilled who has understood or grasped that peaceful state, and it could mean not having fully grasped it, but on the way to grasping it, starting to grasp it, understood the need to do it, to follow that course. So what is to be done? So what follows is then, in the next verse, a series of epithets, a series of descriptive adjectives of how that person should be. So it's not necessarily what he has to do, but how he should be. So this karaniyam is a bit of a blanket word, not do this, but also means be this, act like that. So the second line, sakko ujucha suhujucha suvachochasa mudu anatimani. There's some sakko. It's the first line of the second verse. Sakko, from the root shak, meaning to be able. It is in Sanskrit, I am able, shaknomi, shaknoti. This is a fifth class, what's known as a fifth class verb in Sanskrit. So it's not shakami, but shaknomi, shaknoti. And the equivalents in Pali, sakomi, I can, sakoti, he can. It's also used in a passive sense in Sanskrit. You can have a shakyate, which is possible and which has the Pali equivalent in sakati. So, from that root sak, in Sanskrit shakya, Pali sakka. In Sanskrit, it more has the meaning of possible, something being possible, so you apply it to a thing or a task. In Pali, it also has the meaning of possible, but in addition, it has the meaning of capable, being capable of doing something, so applied to a person rather than a thing. I don't think it can be used in that way in Sanskrit, but it certainly can be in Pali. So the idea here, between the requirement to be sakko, is just to be capable, competent. I suspect here, because we're talking about moral qualities, it is a positive can-do attitude. And if you're unskilled or incompetent at something, there's no adverse moral quality there. But equally, if you say, I can't do that, that there is a moral quality there. So what is required here is as I understand it, is an internal attitude of can do. Yes, it can be done. If I put out the energy, we can do it. That is the idea here. But obviously, I'll welcome other ideas, and there must be many. Now, uju. Note here that the word in Sanskrit riju and in Pali uju, as we know, Pali does not have this subdotted r, this r as a vowel, and it becomes either a, I, or u, and here it just becomes u, so uju. Note that in the verse it's written with a long u, sakko ujucha suhujucha, not ujucha suhujucha. This is purely poetic license. The normal prose form of the word is with a short u. And it's directly cognate, this riju, with the Latin word rec, root rec, as in correct. And it's also cognate with our English word right, the German recht, meaning correct, upright. In fact, our word upright in the sense of one's conduct towards other people, being open and honest. You can talk about upright conduct. That is both in meaning and in the etymology of the word, directly related to the Sanskrit riju and to the Pali uju. Suhuju. Suhuju is the prefix su, meaning good or well, and it's often added with an intensive meaning, upright and really upright. So it would be suuju, but the H is put in euphonically, just to make it sound either suju or suuju. To make it easier, the H is put in. It's not really an essential part of the word. It's got no grammatical function, purely phonetic. So suhuju, ujucha, suhujucha. Upright, really honest and upright. Suvachocha mudu anatimani. Now, suvacho it's from the root vach, which is cognate with the Latin vox and our English word voice, vocal, is that same root. It means voice and it means speech. So if you are suvacha, and there's been some dispute as to what this means. Some people have interpreted as suvacha having a nice voice, in the sense of speaking nicely, talking to people nicely, talking to them in the right kind of polite, respectful way. Yeah, okay, that is one linguistically possible meaning. The other meaning, which I tend to prefer because it has far more of a moral sense and is ideally suited, for example, to a young monk who's being told how he should behave generally, is not speaking nicely. You can even have very nasty and dishonest and horrible people who speak nicely. But here it's the sense of suvacha, of easy to talk to, because this prefix su can sometimes mean easy. And for example, the word for easy itself is sukara, su of doing. Something su to do means easy. Suvacha means easy to talk to, not in the sense of being a good conversationalist, but in the sense of readily accepting admonishment. So if he makes a mistake, does something wrong, you say, "Oi, you've done this wrong," then he won't resent it. He'll be suvacho, yes, please, thank you for putting me right. So in other words, easy to talk to, accepting admonishment. Mudu, mudu from the Sanskrit mridu, in Pali mudu, which is cognate with our English word mud. The basic meaning is soft, and mud is earth that is soft with water. It can have a positive connotation and a negative one. Here, obviously, it's guidance for correct behavior, so it's got a positive connotation. So you're not mudu in the sense of being a soft touch or a softie, but mudu in the sense of not being sharp-edged, of having a gentleness to you. That is how I interpret the meaning here. And anatimani. Now, our root man, meaning to think, cognate with Latin mens, mind, our word mind, and indeed man, because man, as in mankind, is the creature that is able to think. In fact, Manu in Sanskrit, the primal man, Manu. So from man, we have a verbal noun, mana, which on its face just means thinking, but it has been specialized into the meaning of being conceited. And if you look at our word conceited, we have a concept is just something that is grasped with the mind, and an alternative version via French into English, conceit, is that same meaning, having a concept. It means having an overmighty concept of oneself, like having big ideas about how important you are. So mani, so from mana, conceit, then mani, that agent ending e was somebody who's possessed of something or does something. The a becomes an e, as the same as in yoga, yogi. Yogi is somebody who does yoga. Mani means conceited. Ati, the prefix ati, means across or over, as in kram, to step, ati kram, to step over something, to step beyond it. And we had at the end of chapter 4, in the Dhammapada, many of you watching this will have been studying this with me within the last few days. Ati rochati, somebody rochati, and ati rochati, shines out, or outshines other people, shines where others are dull. Ati rochati. If you are atimani, the suggestion there is you got your ideas about yourself are too big. You are over conceited, too full of yourself. And of course that's negated here as telling you what you shouldn't be. Therefore what you should be is anatimani. Oops, stick that in here. Anatimani, not over conceited, not with over big ideas about yourself. The word assa is the optative. It's from the root as, meaning to be. In Sanskrit, actually, it would be syat. It's an irregular verb, as this verb is in most of the Indo-European languages. So it means one should be. So assa, Sanskrit, syat. In Latin, it would be sit, the subjunctive. In Italian, it would be sia, let him be. In French, soit, ainsi soit-il, so be it. So there we are. This is the assa, siat, sit, siat, soit. All from that same root, let it be. And in this case, he should be. Right, I shall read this verse through once more before winding up this video. Karaniyam attakusalena yantam santam padam abhisamecha sakko ujucha suhujucha suvachocha samudu anatimani. And I should say, by the way, that in some versions, in tam, the M is missed out and it's ta. Grammatically, it should be tam because it's the masculine singular accusative. Tan santam padam. It's the object of the verb abhisamecha. But it's sometimes used out to help the poetic meter. In fact, this syllable should, strictly speaking, be short according to the poetic meter, so that M is left out, so that the heavy syllable tam becomes a light syllable ta. without any distinction of grammar. I've put it in as thumb here so as not to confuse students, but here we are. I hope I haven't confused you too much. It's the second time now I'll read it without that M deliberately, and you'll know that it's purely a matter of poetic meter. So here we go again. Karaniyam attakusalena yantasantam padam abhisamecha sakku ujucha suhujucha suvachochassa mudu anatimani. Good, that concludes this video.